reaching sequence.
Okay. So, Ram Ram, and yes, and Namaste. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bernard Duvernay. I am a master farrier from Europe, from Switzerland, and I have been traveling a lot around the world as a consultant. Since the last 30 years, I'm working in India, and mostly in the stock farm where they breed racehorses, Thoroughbred, in the south, Bangalore, in Pune, also in Delhi. So I know quite well India, and I know quite well also the need in farriery and the lack of knowledge in farrier. So that's why we have created with some other friends here in India, we have created this school who is really devoted to raise the level of farriery in India. So since 2013, we have started the course in Duvernay, and we already have maybe something like 85 farrier, 85 trainees who came to our school. Our school is open to absolutely everybody, and we even have the trainer farrier from Meerut, from the army. We have farrier from PPG, the President Bodyguard. We have farrier from the police. So we are open really to everybody who want to know something more about farriery and improve his skill in that profession. Just to give you an idea, for us, when we are talking about a profession, the basic knowledge on our profession is the anatomy. If you don't know the anatomy, it will be very difficult to raise a certain level in this profession, because we are not working for the hoof capsule, for the external part of the hoof, of the limb. We are working also, and this is the most important part, we are working for the anatomy of the limb. The engineering of the foot, it means all the different parts of the limb. I will explain to you exactly how it works. Of course, in such a limited time, I will give you some information, but it will be very little to compare with what we give in our school. So you can see we have very nice facilities in our school. And when the trainees are coming to this place, coming from all over India, and we have a course starting tomorrow. We already have a few trainees who arrived, but we have guys from Kerala, from Bangalore, from Delhi and Punjab, all over the country. It's amazing. Some of them, they have to travel 2 days by train, but it's when they reach the school, they reach a family. It means farriery, it's a very, very small profession. When you see other profession where there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people, in our profession, we are a very little number. And when you enter this profession, you enter really a family. So there is no politics, there is no religion in our school. We are all working only for one goal, it's to learn the maximum in this field. When you see the anatomy of the horse, number of bones are exactly the same than our body bones. Only the difference is only one bone. And this bone is the collarbone that the horse doesn't have. And the shoulder of the horse is only held by the muscle. And this is the only difference between the anatomy of the horse and our own anatomy. So we have to realize the horse is working on the middle finger and only on one line of phalanges. We have 5 and 5 fingers, and we have 10 fingers. We have 20 fingers altogether if we count the feet and the hands. So this is a big difference that we have always to remember when we are working on the horse. Here, yes, do you see my arrow? Here, do you see the arrow?
Yeah, we are seeing
Okay.
the presentation. We are seeing the screen as well. It's very clear.
Okay. Here are the phalanges. And this, for us, as farrier, this is our guideline, the 3 finger phalanges, because we have to align these phalanges. And only working on the hoof capsule, on the heel, on the toe, on the side of the hoof, we will change the alignment of these phalanges. The normal way is to have a straight in these phalanges. The problem, when you don't know about this kind of things and the anatomy, you don't care. And this is a big problem in India. Long toe, low heel. This is the worst conformation that we can see here in India, who is shortly related with the lack of knowledge of the farriers. When we see the weight distribution on the horse, 60% of the weight is on the front limbs. So it means also on the front feet. And you see the surface of one foot is quite small, and the weight per quadrat centimeter, it's quite important. So we have to respect the structure of the sole, the structure of the frog, to make sure that the horse will support the weight without suffering and without feeling too much the ground. The fact that we have more weight on the front legs means also we have much more problem on the front limb than on the hind limb. For example, tendinitis, joint problem are much more on front limbs than on hind limbs. The structure of the feet, the shape of the feet, and the work of the farrier is very important to maintain the angles. And here, for example, you can see we have an alignment of the phalanges. The line is not broken. And this is something that we have to imagine. But knowing the anatomy, we see the phalanges. We can imagine the phalanges. And if the heel are too low or the toe too long, immediately you will see and feel this broken line. Same in the the alignment of the foot from the front, the coronet is our guideline. If the coronet is parallel to the ground, it means the joints will work parallel to the surface of all the structure of the foot. And this is important because if one side is higher than the other, then automatically one side of the joints will be more loaded than the other. And we will create, with the time, we will create some problem. Do you have a question?
Yes,
There
Bernard.
is a,
When it comes to, you said something about the angle. So I would like our members to know what the preferred angle is, the Farriers, as well as, going down into the ground, at what angle should the hoof be? That's number one. Number two is, when we analyze the hoof, the type of ground that the horse should be standing on when we are analyzing the hoof. That's important as well, because say, for example, in Rajasthan, there's like soft sand surfaces all over, and people start evaluating things on surfaces that are not the right kind of surface for the horse to stand and then look at the feet. So what should be the right kind of surface on which one should be evaluating the horse's feet as well? So if you can touch on those aspects as well.
of course, this is a very good question, and this is a very important question. Even to work as a farrier, we need a flat surface, flat, hard surface. So when we evaluate the horse, if we don't have a flat, hard surface, we can go on the road. We can find a place close to the stable where there is a hard and flat surface. This is impossible to evaluate the feet and the limb on the sand. In the sand, impossible. And we have to find the right place. And if you have a large stable, it's easy to make a concrete place to do such evaluation and to check always the conformation of your horse or even of your feet with precision. The good angles are, there is limited, how to say, each horse has his own conformation. And you will see some horses with very small and low heel, but the angle will be correct. It means for us, the most important again, it's the alignment of the phalanges. Of course, with experience, any abnormal size in the feet will guide you to correct them and to go back to the normal angle and length for the feet. So in the indigenous horses, for example, you don't have big feet. The feet are quite small and they are very strong, very solid. So any change in their conformation is mostly related with a poor management, a poor trimming, and a lack of knowledge in farriery. But I don't see many horses with a natural bad conformation or very poor feet in the indigenous horse in India. Of course, and I will show you, I will explain to you also the importance to follow the young horses from the very young age and to make the feet grow properly. So if we see the normal angle of the wall, you can see both of them, they have about the same angle. If the conformation of the limb is not correct, if the foot is turned in or turned out, you will see a difference in this angle because one side will be pushed in and the other side will be pushed out. So when we see a difference in the angle of the feet, as farrier, we know that there is a problem with coming from higher and the conformation is not 100% correct. So this is also something that we are very much looking at, but this is also something very important, the coronet line, as I said before, and of course we have to be on a flat surface to evaluate this properly. So here it's the same. We always have a little difference between the heel and the toe. This, if the difference is zero, it's not a mistake. Some horses have stronger heel than other, but when we have this kind of angle, it's quite normal. The problem is we see it very frequently on the Thoroughbred in the race course because they are shoeing the horses very short. They don't give length to the shoe. It means they don't give support under the heel and under the ball. So step by step, the foot will collapse, the foot at the heel side will collapse and go down. This is a very bad thing because it will take a long, long time to make the heel recover and become stronger. Sometimes it's even impossible. So sorry, you have a question? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
when it comes to the shoes, when you touched on a very important point over there, when it comes to the shoes, using the half shoe, most of the race industry does that with the young thoroughbreds. They would use the half shoe while practicing the horse or while the horse is. I'm not very kind of connected to the race world, but I know that they use these half shoes for some or the other reason.
You mean half shoe?
Yeah,
half shoe?
Half shoes, the shoes which are smaller than the actual size of the complete size of the boot.
No, this is not
or is
something
that more for medical purposes?
Yes, this is for medical purpose. This is we call it half shoe, but this is mostly to correct. We do it on young horses mostly, on the club feet, for example, to protect the toe and to make the heel be wear naturally. But this is not something that is used without any special purpose.
Okay, I think it's clear.
Yes. So when we are watching also the feet, we have to check them from behind. And it is very important to see the height of the heel. Both heels have to be at the same height. And this is also how we can notice if the foot is not very well balanced, if one wall is higher than the other. So when we go around the horse, we also check the front feet from behind the horse. We don't check only the hind feet, we also check the front feet. So here we can see the different form between, on the left, the front, and in the right, the hind feet. The shape is quite different. That's also why we use different shoes. Different shoes means in the front feet, we mostly use toe clip, and in the hind shoes, in the hind feet, we use side clip. Unfortunately, in India, the shoes are not very well made. And it can be in the army or it can be in the civilian. The shoes who are made in India, most of the time, the clips, hind clips, are much too much in front of the shoe. And you cannot fit the shoe properly. You cannot set the shoe back of the toe and make the toe nice round. So that's also why we can see the feet going longer and longer and longer after each shoeing, because the farrier cannot shape the foot properly after nailing the shoes. So this is a little problem who has never been corrected. I told the guys who are producing these shoes many times, but they have great difficulty to understand. I just want to come back to the fall, because I can see in the thoroughbred industry, we call it industry because we can see big farms with something like 60 to 80 foal per year. That's why we call also all the thoroughbred an industry, because it starts in the stud farm, then it goes to the trainer, then it goes to the races, and it's quite well organized. And I would say the care on the younger horses is very, very important. If you miss the right time to correct them, it will be impossible to correct them and to correct the limb. We have many different problems in the conformation of the young horses, like we can see on the young kids. The limb at birth, and you can see in the middle here, all the joints, all the limb are very flexible, and there is nothing really solid. We can see here at the chest is completely empty. And look at this fold, it's exactly the same fold from the left side. And after only 4 weeks, look the muscle that he already has. This muscle will consolidate the full limb. It means the limb will be whole also by the muscle. If there is a little deformity, or if by mistake the knee or the fetlock have a deviation or have a deformity, at the very early stage, we can rebalance this limb and make them grow correctly. But we have a very short period of time to correct this, just a few months after birth. So that's why we have to be very careful. Exercise is also very, very important. And I can see in the indigenous horses, in the Marwari horses, sometimes you see the baby tied in the side of the mare without exercise, without liberty to go and run. And we can see a lot of problem in the growth of the feet because trimming is very neglected, and this is a very important age. Here, for example, you see here, there is what we call offset knee. This is a young foal. This is an offset knee. The line between this part of the limb and down here at the cannon bone are not aligned. These come from the knee. Unfortunately, we cannot do much, but we have to support this deviation and to make sure that the foot will not be growing in an abnormal way, because there is much more weight going on the medial side of the foot than on the lateral. So most of the time we give a little support inside. It means we glue a little protection to distribute the weight in a better way. Here we can see also this is a very long pastern. And we know that when they have long pastern, they have the tendency to load a lot the heel and to have very flat heel. Because when they are adult, when they are putting weight, then the weight has the tendency to help the fetlock to go down. The structure of the baby foot has to be checked very, very frequently. It means the owner, not only the farrier, but the owner has to lift the feet and to check, to clean, and to make sure that there is no trash and there is no stones, and the feet are growing nicely. Also, the heel had to be checked and maintained very strong. Usually, we keep the level of the heels and the level of the frog at the same height. Even we rasp a little bit the heel lower than the frog. I will show you in the next picture the importance to do this and why we are doing this, why the frog is so important. Sorry. In fact, the frog helps the foot to expand at the heel side. When you push, when you put pressure on the frog, then it goes, the structure of the material, the shock absorber who is behind the frog is, you can deform, you can change the shape, but you cannot change the volume. So it means when you put a pressure on the frog, the surface, the volume of the digital portion is inside has to go sideways. And that's why the heels are expanding. If the frog is neglected, if there is trash, if the foal doesn't put pressure on the frog because it's painful, then the foot will contract and the foot will not grow in a nice, natural, round way. So the shape will be contracted. This is very, very important. Nutrition on the foal is very important. The balance of the nutrition. We always have to give supplement to the foal because in the diet that we have, if you don't give supplement, there will be a lack of mineral, there will be a lack of vitamin, and even if you give good height, if you give good grains, the grains will not have always the same quality. And this quality has to be balanced by some supplement. This is what we see on the young horses, the sole and the frog is like a pad. It supports the weight and it helps the foot to grow nicely round. You see the frog is nice and wide, and sometimes if here you have a crack and inside this crack there is trash, automatically after some time the foot will contract because the trash is painful. The trash is a kind of a disease and it's destroyed the surface and even deep inside the frog, it becomes full of tracks from this disease. It's a bacteria, and it can be also inside we find bacteria and also fungus. So we have to treat it and to make some medicine penetrate deeply inside the structure as soon as possible before it destroys too much of this structure. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Just on the previous slide, when you were talking about the nutrition. Now, in India, especially in the rural domain, it's more about breeding and breeding for business, right? So if the right kind of foal has not been dropped, the mare has to come back into estrus as soon as possible, and that's where the weaning is too early. I have rescued a few horses who are being sold at Pushkar with less than a month old, right? So number one, what's the, if the foal is there with the mother, what's the duration that you think the foal should be still suckling on mother's milk for how long? And if the more important question is, if there's a horse that we have rescued and month and a half or 2 months of age, and the mother is not there at our stables, what are the important things that we have to keep in mind in terms of nutrition? I mean, that might be something that you may, be able to answer to the T, or it might be someone else who is an expert. But from your experience as a farrier, what would you suggest for someone like me who is rescuing a foal or 2 months to make sure that from a feed point of view, I will tell you a story when you are at the stable, and it's very good story to share with you. But again, I don't want to digress. So those are my 2 important points when it comes to nutrition and the foal's health, which transforms to the feed. So what do we do in cases where we rescue these horses which are too young?
So nutritionist is a profession, and I don't know everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I want to say, okay, I can recommend to give, in the market there are a lot of complements for young horses, for mare, for performance horses. So I cannot tell you exactly. I mean, the win of when we win the foal, it's not before 4 or 5 months. And 5 months, I think it's the wins in the thoroughbred industry. Until 4 or 5 months, they are staying with the mother because the milk is also so important. And that's why we have to feed the mother properly, because the foal will get all this vitamin, mineral, everything from the mother. But I suggest that, and I can give you the name of some very good breeder, thoroughbred breeder, who have a great knowledge on this. And this will be much more important for you to talk with a specialist in nutrition. Is that okay? Okay. So here, this is an interesting follow-up of the shape of the same foal from during 11 months. And you can see the shape will change during the growth. At birth, and we can see here, the shape is quite wide, and the line, the angle of the wall is 0 because he had no weight until now. But step by step, the foal will get weight, but he will also grow. And the growth comes from the coronet. All the new food will grow from the coronet. So it's amazing because the food will start to be a conus with the large part at the top. And step by step, when you go down, the angle change and the conus become like this. This is how it grows. And it's always very interesting to follow this growth and to make sure that the angle change in the right way and with the right angle. Because if you have a limb deformity or again, if the feet are turned in or turned out, you can have some change in the growth. And we have to control this and sometimes to balance. Sometimes we have also to trim the fall much more frequently just to balance the angle and make sure that they will not be too low or too high in one side or in the other. This is very important. The follow-up on the young horses is very, very important. And I would say we nearly trim the young horses every month, maximum every 6 weeks, because we have just to maintain. It's not a very important work. It's not, I mean, there is not much to do, but it's always a question of balancing the feet, but very important for the growth. Then you can see the hoof capsule is not the most important thing. We have the bones, the 3 phalanges. Then we have surrounding the pedal bone, P3, that we can see here. We have the lamella. Lamella is the connection between the soft tissue of and sensitive tissue, because all this part is very sensitive, and the connection between the sensitive part and the non-sensitive part. The hoof capsule is absolutely non-sensitive. It's like our fingernail, you can cut it, there is no nerves. And these lamella have exactly the same structure inside the hoof capsule. And if you see here we have the pedal bone, here we have the lamella, here we have the dermal lamella, and this is a connection like this. It goes like this, and it's a very strong connection. Here you can see surrounding the hoof, we have around 550 to 600 lamella, which is a great number, and the surface of this lamella makes a very strong connection. But the pedal bone is not very tight connected to the hoof capsule. The pedal bone is in suspension, and the pedal bone can go down and up according to the weight on the limb. And it's also a part of the shock absorber of the food. So if I come back here, we have the bones, the sensitive structure of the food, with all the connection with the tendon and the ligaments. Here we have the digital portion. This is the shock absorber. And underneath the digital portion, we have the frog. And all these things make the complete engineering structure of the hoof. These are the non-sensitive lamella inside the hoof capsule. This, we call them the dermal lamella, and sorry, the structure that we have surrounding the pedal bone are the sensitive lamella. Here we have very little holes where the tubule of the horn, and this is the groove that we have at the coronet, and that's where this little papilla produce the horn of the wall. The coronet is a very, very important and fragile part of the roof. And if you have any injury on what is this noise? And if we have any injuries on the coronet, it's very, very important to treat it like a severe damage, and we have to maintain it very clean, to medicate it, to make sure that it will grow properly. These again, they are the lamella, and these lamella also give the name to the laminitis, because laminitis is a disease of this part of the foot. The toe lamella get destroyed, and it's a very, very, very painful disease. And it's like to have a fingernail. If we take out a fingernail and we ask the horse to walk on this fingernail, it's a terrible disease. It's a very difficult disease to prevent, and we have very limited time to treat this disease. If we wait, then we pass the time that we can stop the disease and treat it. And this is a question of hours. This is what we call the acute time of the laminitis. It's an emergency. And if you miss this particular time, you will create a lot of damage inside the hoof, and you will most probably have a severe disease will require a lot of time to recover. Again, laminitis, and this is the blood network of the veins and the arteries inside the hoof. Inside this part, we have all these little vessels who get destroyed also. Here we have the toe, and all these little vessels get pressed by the rotation of the pedal bone and get destroyed. Here you can see the veins and the arteries going to supply the blood inside the hoof. The blood will supply the coronet, and that's where the nutrition of the cell is coming from. So the papilla at the coronet will produce the wall. The papilla at the sole will produce the sole, and all the structure of the frog also have papillas who produce these structures, and everything is working in balance. But when we have imbalance on the foot and we have more pressure in one side or in the other, in the heel or in the front, we also destroy this blood circulation, and we damage this little very fragile vessel. So the balance of the food is also related with the soundness of the internal part of the food and on the function of all these little structures. Here you can see again the view from all these things with the veins, the arteries, and also a network of, in the yellow, we have the network of the sensitive structure of the food, the nerves, sorry. The nerves. The nerves are also very important in the food. And we can see a horse will feel very easily the surface of the ground. And it's amazing because they have what we call the proprioception. It's the kind of sensitivity they have to feel the ground. And even during the night, we can see the horse can feel and find the right way to work in any ground. This is very, very important. And this is related with the network of nerves that he has at the end of this food to communicate the information directly to the brain. So the movement of the horse is important. If you want to keep a good quality of your feed, the horse has to exercise, because by exercising, it also creates a pump, like a pump, and the blood will circulate. It will activate the circulation of the blood. If you have a poor quality of the horn, you have to give food complement for sure. You have to treat the feed properly to keep the moisture inside the feed. And you have to exercise the horse or to leave the horse be free to go outside and inside as he wants, but he has to move. Here I will show you something quite interesting to know. Here we have the movement of the food. Here you can see we have a little deformity of the surface at the sole, and you can see here the food is not rigid. All this part of the food is moving. We can see at the heel, the bulbs are going down, the heels are compressed, the sole is going down, and even the coronet is going a little bit back. But this part of the foot, the toe part and the quarter part are quite rigid. If we see this, it means this is the movement of the bones inside the hoof, and we can see the second phalange will put also pressure on the digital portion. It means even if there is not a huge pressure from the ground, only the movement, the descent of the fetlock will move the second phalange and will press the digital portion who is here. Here we will see in this section, this is the digital portion. These are the first, second, and third phalange, and we can see here the movement of the sole. The elasticity of the frog and the elasticity also of the sole. The sole, a normal sole, is concave. The concavity means It goes down and up, down and up. If the sole is very flat, all this shock absorber is destroyed. And we can see sometimes horses with very flat sole, also related with the shape of the foot. And if the foot is too long at the toe, automatically the load will be much more on the frog and on the sole, and step by step, the sole will go down. So here we can see the mechanism of the foot, and this, I told you about the pressure on the digital portion. This is the digital portion. So when you press it, then it has to go somewhere. It goes sideways and also back. That's what we see here on the back. And if we see here, we will see the movement of the heel. Look, now we draw a line at the heel side. We put the pressure on the foot, and you can see here, there is a movement at the heel. You see? So this foot is a small foot. If you go and see it on a donkey foot, there is no movement because the foot is very little and there is no weight. The weight is very little. Sometimes there are more weight on their back than their own weight. But the feet have also a shape, very rigid, and it can be the donkey or it can be the mule. They have very rigid feet. This is something that the nature made it's very different than the horse. But there is one more thing which is very important for a farrier. When we see this movement starts at the widest part of the foot. When you look at the foot, the shape of the foot, there is in the middle the widest part. Then the wall going to the heel becomes thinner. The wall is thinner because it has an elasticity, it is flexible. That's why the nature made it thinner, and it has to expand and to contract, expand and contract. This is very important for the farrier because if I show you on this foot, we should not nail, we should not put any nail in the back of the foot. And you can easily understand why we should not nail here, because we have to leave the movement very free. If you see a nail here, you can tell, I can see that the farrier doesn't know about this movement. And he thinks that he's working on a piece of wood. No, the foot has an elasticity, it has a natural movement, we have the physiology, this is the physiology of the foot. And we have to know all these things when we learn farriery, because we have not to make such big mistake. This is a terrible mistake for us. I am not blaming the farrier, because this guy have never been to a professional school. And I will never say, oh, what the terrible mistake. Okay, he's doing what he knows. And that's why we have created this school to help them to get a solid knowledge. Okay, let's go to see something different. Here it's a drawing that we can see. Yes, please. Go ahead.
I should compliment you on the previous slide that you put together. It was very well explained. and it's a good understanding and knowledge to have for any one of our people who keep horses. With those kind of X-ray videos, we can also see the movement of the pedal bone, which people don't understand why that is important and why, uh, you know, uh, what's the impact on of various surfaces and how we shoe and everything on the various bones, including the pedal bone as well. So yeah, no, very good. I should compliment you on this slide and the knowledge that you put behind it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And this is just a little drawing to explain the mechanism and all the different movements inside the hoof. Here we have the pedal bone, and we can see even the pedal bone is not, as I said previously, is in suspension inside the hoof capsule. And it can move in many directions, but this movement is very, very little because it is maintained by very fragile structure. So this structure allows little movement, but very limited movement. If this movement is going over the limit, then we are creating some damage. Here we can see also another view of the foot. We have cut the hind part of the foot, and here we can see the digital portion in the middle, and these are the cartilage of the foot, the cartilage of the pedal bone. The pedal bone has cartilage in the back of this structure. And it's also related with the movement of the heel. The cartilage is like the ear or it's like the nose. It's very flexible. It's not a bone. It's very flexible. And it moves also within the structure of the hoof capsule within movement. So this is the connection between the hard structure of the bone and the other hard structure of the hoof capsule. This allows the movement. And sometimes we have ossification of this cartilage, and it becomes very painful for the horse because it doesn't let the movement be free of pressure. Here you can see the structure of the joint on the low part of the limb. The movement is unidirectional, only one direction. It cannot be like the shoulder, it was only in a straight direction. So any flexion, any torsion can create some damage. All the joints are also supported and held by ligaments. And we know ligaments are structured only to hold. It means that there is no muscle, it's only a little fiber between one bone and another bone on the joint. A tendon is a structure connected to a bone, but connected in the other side to a muscle. And it allows a tension and a difference of length, which create the movement. So we have movement for the extension and we have movement for the flexion. Here we have these two little cartilage, which are very, very important. And I can also show you on the foot where we can feel this cartilage. This is the pedal bone, and this is the structure of the cartilage inside the hoof. Here we have cut the roof, but inside the roof, and then we have a little part of the cartilage which is going over the roof capsule. Here we can see, not very well, but I draw it. Here we have the cartilage of the foot, and with your finger, you can feel the elasticity. And when we have any lameness, it's important to check if the cartilage is not becoming bony, hard. This is here we can see an X-ray, and we can see the bony structure of the cartilage. Usually the cartilage doesn't appear because it doesn't appear on the X-ray because it's not a solid structure, it's a soft structure. Here we have the cartilage, and here we have a bony cartilage. And on this bone, we have ossification of the cartilage. This is the ossification of the cartilage. Here we have a wing bone, and we can see on the horse sometimes a kind of bulb here, and when we press, it's hard. This is the ossification of the cartilage, what we call the ring bone. It's the same on the right image. We have the ossification of the cartilage. Now we come to the alignment of the phalanges. It's amazing. Sorry. Here you have the normal alignment of the phalanges, and here in the drawing we can see exactly that everything is fine. On this hoof, we can see the heel are low and the toe is a little bit long. Then we have a broken line, broken backward of this alignment of the phalanges. The phalanges are not aligned. Here it's the opposite, a club foot, and the line is broken frontward. These are the most important difference in the broken line. That what we see even on the young horses, we can see some contraction of the tendon to create the club foot. This is something that can be treated quite easily when we do it at the right time. When we see a foal who is a little bit clubby, then there are some injection to relax the muscle. This is the oxytetracycline. The vet, again, this is, I just tell you the name, but this is not the part of the Farrier to give any injection. So, but of course, I've been working for such a long time with the vets. I know a little what they are doing, and we are working together. It means Farrier and vet have to be able to work together. If you want to get result, it's a teamwork. And it can be lameness, it can be injury, it can be full treatment. We are always working together in very good relationship as soon as we have the same knowledge. I mean, we have knowledge on the anatomy because we have to understand the mechanism of the hoof. If we want to work with a vet, we have to speak the same knowledge. It means we have to know the terminology of the structure of the limb. tendon, ligament, bone, and any structure of the foot is known by the farrier. When a vet gives us a prescription, we have to understand the prescription. It means we have to understand what he's saying, what he wants, what is the target, what is the goal of the correction. And this is how we are working together. And this is also how, in our school, we are trying to give this kind of knowledge, not only to the farrier, but also to the vets. And in India, unfortunately, the knowledge of the vet in farriery is quite poor. I'm not saying about there is a few vets who are very much specialized, who knows very well, but if a vet is not exposed to the equine industry in this country, he will hardly learn to treat the lameness, to treat the problem of the feet properly, because they have a very, very poor knowledge in the vet school. So here in Duvernay, we are starting some special course for the vet to make them understand the high standard of farrier, and also to make them work with the farrier and also help us to educate the farrier about all these things. Here, I will show you a few things when we are trimming the feet. Trimming the feet, it's not an easy job, but it's the most important work before the shoeing. Shoeing is not difficult when the trimming is done properly, because shoeing is just the adaptation of a protection to maintain the foot protected. But the trimming, during the trimming, you make all the correction and you reach the right structure of the foot to give a good support. Here, for example, look, we had a poor foot, not very well maintained, and we could see that the draw was a little bit too much. At that point, the heel was here. Even if the heels are not very strong, we have to rasp them. To rasp them to change the level of the support. The support was here at the beginning, and with a good trimming of the heel, we have reached this part, which is just below the bones. And here we have created a big surface to support the weight in connection with the shoe, or even if it's a barefoot, the surface at the heel will be good enough to support the weight. So we are mostly working on the length of the toe, and the level of the heels. Just changing this, we are changing the balance of the feet. And this is how we rebalance the alignment of the phalanges and the weight distribution inside the foot. Because anything we are producing here, any change we are producing here, is going directly inside the foot to the bone structure and to the very soft structure, soft and sensitive structure that we so produce. Here, this is the foot before trimming. This is the same foot after trimming. We can see the angle of the heels before trimming and the angle of the heel after trimming. We see the length of the toe and we see the length of the toe. These proportion, these length are very important. And this change in the angle are huge. And you can imagine the weight distribution is completely different. So the length of the toe is like to wear a shoe. If you wear a shoe, 3 sizes longer than your size. So the horse has to lift the toe much higher for the movement. It means also the tension inside on the deep digital flexor tendon. This is the deep digital flexor tendon. This is the superficial flexor tendon. These two tendons are the most important tendon for the foot because they have to support the weight and they have to create the movement. Here in front, we have the extensor tendon. We give the movement like this. But this movement is only the movement of the hoof without the weight. Here we have the tension to pull the digital, the P3, the pedal bone. Only by pulling this little bone, we will create the movement of rotation on the toe. And then when we start to lift the toe, the extensor tendon will give the movement to rebalance the foot for landing. So all these things are important, and when you see the balance in the trimming of the foot, you will realize how much you change the tension on the tendon. This is also something very important for us. And only with the rasp, we will do these things. We will change the balance of the foot and we will recreate a better proportion inside the hoof to recreate something much more natural. People are saying, but in the nature of the horse, we never trim the horse. Okay, but in the nature, in the wild, the horses are moving all the time. The horses have to deal with hard ground, with soft ground, with different conditions, and will always balance the angle of the foot. And I have some good friends in Australia who have made huge research on the brumbies there, and it's amazing how the feet are always balanced. It can be on hard ground or soft ground, but the angles are always correct to fit this situation. In our condition, we cannot hope to have the normal condition, and the horse is dependent on us, is dependent on our work, and we have to maintain this quite artificially with the rasp. And this is our responsibility, the responsibility of the farrier. On the sole, we have to maintain the sole strong, solid, because the sole is like the sole of your shoe. If you have strong sole on your shoes, then you can walk on the stone, you can walk on any ground, you will be very comfortable. If the sole is thin on your shoes, then you will feel the ground. And in some condition, you will not be very, very comfortable. This is what we have to maintain with the horse. And here, if we cut too much the sole, we make the sole thinner and the horse will be not comfortable. Even if we would grasp the wall too much, then we create a point here at the connection at the white line, which this point will be very weak. The horse will not be very comfortable. So the farrier has to feel also with his finger, and we have also some very important guidelines when we trim, because we can see the thickness of the sole and we can maintain this thickness. But of course, it's difficult to show you and to explain to you all these details, because yes, it's a very short time to explain everything. But here you can see the imbalance, the line here, the height of the heel before trimming, and then the alignment of the heel after trimming. All these things have to be done not by measuring, but only with our eyes. And this requires a lot of exercise, and the practical part of our work is very important, and we have to work regularly, and we have to work every day on the feet to be able to be sensitive and to recognize all this little change in the roof capsule. Same with the dish, we have to rebalance the wall, and you see the difference between these 2 feet before and after trimming. It's a huge change, and it's also something quite important for the horse, and the horse will feel much more comfortable after such work. Sorry, it's 42 degrees here in Rajasthan today. Oh, there is someone who is practicing farrier behind, I think. Here are the very simple principle of farrier. Just a few tricks to show you, judge the quality of the work of your farrier. Here you can see the widest part of the foot, which is also the widest part of the shoe. And there is no nail behind this line. No nail behind this line. This line is here because we have the movement of the heel. We give some extension, at the heel part on the shoe to leave the foot move on the shoe, not to go over the shoe. If it expands, it has to expand on the surface of the shoe. And this is something very important, but many farriers neglect this because they don't realize that it's something that has to be done properly. Here, the length, here, the length of the shoe. The shoe have to be 1 centimeter, even more on the big feet, the big horses, 1 centimeter longer than the hoof at the heel. You see here at the heel, and here we have a little length. Because when the foot is growing, it has the tendency to grow a little bit more at the toe, and after 3 weeks, the shoe will not cover anymore the heels. So if we leave a little extension, then the foot will cover for the full period of shoeing. So this is the length of the shoe. This is do you hear this noise? What is this? Somebody
Bernard,
has
it's not from your side.
So these are the principle, and also here the high of the nail. In the theory, theory, they are at 1/3 of the roof high. This is about 1/3. And we are always trying to align the nail at the same level, because next time we have to find also another line to drive the nail a little bit higher. But if one nail is high, one nail is low, and it's all the level are different, then at the next tree we will have problem to find solid hole. So all these things are also very important. Little details, but important for the strongness of the shoe.
I think you're not on mute. Can you go on mute, please?
Somebody has a carpenter.
Yeah, it's okay now. It's okay now. Thanks, Louis. Thank you.
So we have, I'm not going to tell you all the details on the corrective shoeing, because we will need a few more days. But we have a huge range of different shoes that we make ourselves, or we modify the shoes to fit some particularity when the horse is lame, or when the horse has got injuries, or when the horse has got laminitis. There are many possibilities to help the horse to recover, and sometimes we have also different shoes to maintain the horse sound, because we have some disease who cannot be treated. We have some arthrosis who cannot be treated. We can maintain with some little painkiller, we can maintain the horse better, but the farrier can help a lot, because we can prevent some movement through particular shoes that the horse should not do. Some movement mediolateral or in front, or we can reduce the lever at the breakover, at the toe, which make a big change for the horse for his movement. And we can maintain them. We can see it on the show jumper, for example. On the race horses, we are working only with young animals. So there is no much problem with the age, because they are all young. The only problem are tendon or ligaments, but nothing else, and nothing very who can be really treated by the farrier. Because if a horse is lame in the racing, if they have to keep the horse in rest for 4 months, 6 months, sometimes they send them back to the farm it becomes a brood mare or it becomes a stallion or they're out of the races. In the show jumper or in the dressage horses, we have horses at the age of 16, 17, 19, who are still performing at very high level. But I can tell you, the importance of the farrier is very high. In the team, the farrier is very, very important because all these horses have little problems. But we maintain this problem because we balance the feed, we have special shoes just to maintain them working perfectly well, without any painkiller, without any drugs. This is the fine-tuning in our profession, and this is how we work at very high level. So we belong to the team, we are part of the team, and here you can see the kind of shoe that we use for front and hind feet. And this is related with the shape of the feet. Front feet much rounder than the hind feet. The hind feet have a V shape, and that we have to respect the shape because this is the natural shape. Here we can see the length of the shoe and the level of the nails. And this little extension. So we are working mostly cold in India. Sometime we can do it hot. In Europe, we are mostly working hot because the shoes that we are using are quite strong, and we have to put them in an oven to make them malleable and to be able to shape them with precision. So this is our school. This is our classroom, the place where we are showing horses. We have 6 to 8 places for showing horses. We have the forge with the gas forge, the anvil, and we are teaching the trainees to modify the shoe, to make the shoe, but most of them, they are not able to make the shoe themselves. And this is how we are working at the school. It means we are really trying to make them, to give them a solid basic knowledge to grow in the profession and to become professional farrier with the knowledge to explain also to the owner what they are doing. If they have to do some correction, they can also explain the effect of the correction on their horse. They can work with the vets, and with this basic knowledge, they can also keep learning. They can be on internet to see all the documents that you can collect. And we have also a group of our trainees. They can anytime contact us and get a support from a teacher or from, we have a network of teachers around the world. We have teachers coming from all over the world to our school, and we are always very open to keep contact with all our trainees and help them to find the right solution to work on the problematic horses that they have. So this is our target. We want to work much more with associations like you, because we want to spread the knowledge. We want to make also the owner much more aware about the importance of their care, the care that you can give to your horses and their feet, and the importance of your possibility to judge also the work of your farrier. So we are very much open to have you in our school and to show you all what we are doing. So this is what I wanted to tell you today. But you can imagine we can spend many more hours to know about Farrier.
Yeah, Bernard, you would be happy to know that we, as ISHEL, we have introduced a course structure for education, and at different levels, from level 1 to level 5. Juhi, if you can just be on mute, please. Juhi, if you can just be
There
on
is a
mute.
Farrier. There is
Yeah.
already one of your members who is practicing Farrier.
Okay. So we are having a course structure which I will talk to you more about when we meet in person next week. And a part of that, there are different levels from level 1 to level 5, and there's a lot that we can work together. Having some of our students sent to your institute, because I think you are one of the institute in India, which is very important for us to on the project as well. No feet, no horse, as people say. So I think, and I would definitely stress on the fact that ISHEL as an organization will be working very closely with your organization as well. And I think when we meet, there will be more formalization of such association as to where we can work together, where we can combine our interest, and how you as an organization can come to our support and our help and what we want to do, developing our athletes, both the farriers, the grooms, the riders, as well as the horses themselves. So I think the association will go a long way. Does anyone of our members have any questions for Bernard? Okay, I'll take that as a no. But I think, Bernard, that was quite a in-depth presentation from your side. There's a lot that we kind of tried learning from what you presented. Obviously, it's a very vast subject, and things and 1.5 hours does not do justice to it. So that's something that also we will kind of focus on as to where and how we can have more and more of these sessions and be specific on our topics and discuss more and more on things that uh, we can take up on those sessions. But thank you so much for
Most
spending
welcome.
your time with us, our members. This is just a part of our membership. Obviously, it was a very short notice, but the recording of the session will be available when we put up our YouTube channel as well. So members will be seeing it from there. And the further interactions that we will be having will, I think, will be more kind of crucial for all the other members to join in as well. Mukta, I see you have a question. You can ask
Yes,
your question. Yes. Juhi, if you can go on mute, please. Mukta, you can ask the question, please.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, go on.
Sir, I have a question regarding, I'm a veterinarian. So if I want to pursue equine medicine, so are there any courses in foreign university, something that I can? Am I audible?
I didn't get the question.
Hello,
What,
am I audible, sir?
what is the question?
Yeah, my question is, I'm a veterinarian. So if I want to pursue a master's specifically in equine, that is in horses, so are there any courses which basically focus in horse medicine or their performance, something, or any course of 1 year, something like that?
So very sorry, but I cannot answer your question. It's completely out of my field. And if you want to study farriery, you are most welcome. But if you want to learn veterinary medicine or anything else, it's not my field.
Mugdha, you can actually get in touch with myself. You can drop me a WhatsApp and we can have a discussion on some of the courses that are available overseas that will be for your interest. But I think Bernard is more dedicated to the field of farriery, and that's where he would be able to kind of answer the queries. I think your question is more to education in your line of vet that you are doing, correct? You can get in touch with me on my WhatsApp.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, your number, is this your number which is showing on the display? In this
I will share it to you on the share it with you on the chat.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Any other questions we have?
Two questions.
So I think Bernard, that's it. No questions for now.
Yes, two questions.
I would, when I visit your
There are
center,
two questions.
Oh, there is. Okay. Then I should have a question. Yeah.
Yes. So, hello, Bernard, sir. Actually,
Good evening.
I have a few questions. First one is there are few farriers. Few of them have opinion that Indian horses usually they don't need shoeing, and few of them prefer that shoeing should be done. So, what exactly is your view on this?
Okay, this is very simple. Shoeing depends on what the horses are doing, depends on the ground, and if they are staying in the paddock, they don't need shoes, of course. But if you have to go on the road, if you have to go on the stone, if you want to go riding in the forest, most of the time we need shoes. Of course, maybe in Rajasthan, where it's very sandy, you can keep the horses without shoes, and some horses have very, very hard feet. So it's not a need. Shoeing is not a need. Shoeing becomes a need when you break the balance between the growth and the wear of the food. When the wear is more than the growth, you have to make it to adapt the protection to prevent this wear to become dangerous for the horse and to reach the sensitive part of the foot. But this, I cannot answer your question without knowing the condition of the ground in your place and the kind of work that your horses are performing.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, yes. And one more thing, sir. Actually, we had a horse at our stables at riding school. It was kind of a club-footed or box-hoof that we say. So it was not with us for a longer duration, but with good number of farrier sessions. Can we fix it for adult horses like club foots or the box-hoof horses that we have? To what extent can we fix it?
Okay. So club feed, we have to work on the club feed. I can tell you there are some very, very famous dressage horses who have club feed. It's not a problem. Usually we have much more problem on the opposite foot. But if the club foot, if the horse is not too old, and if we can try to modify a little the food, we will do it. Not in one time. We have to go very progressively. you can imagine if the foot is clubby, the, the, the length of the tendon is less than the opposite foot. Because with this high heel, the tendon has less tension. So if you reduce too much the length of the heel, the height of the heel, then your horse will be dead lame because it's too much change in one time. That's why we have to go very, very, very progressively. Then when we change the height of the heel, we can also extend a little bit, expand the length of the shoe at the toe, really to rebalance the foot and to recreate a normal shape. But this has to be done by a farrier who understands the situation and who has the knowledge of this situation to make sure that he will not make a too big change in one time.
Okay. Sir, so to what extent can we fix this? Like, will it be better than before, or can we fix it completely?
No, we will not fix it completely. What is the age of the horse?
We had that horse, we don't have it anymore. That one was, I think, around 6 or 6.5 year old, maybe 6 to 7. I think.
Well, at this age, we can still work on this, but we will never, at this age, we will never have a normal food because he's very much used to this angle, and it will be very difficult for him to be normal. But as I said, it's not a big problem. Clubfoot is not a very big problem as long as we maintain the clubfoot in a decent size, decent shape. If the foot is completely upright, then this is another story. It's always very difficult. I'm sorry, but it's always very difficult to judge the situation without having a picture of the feet. And this is something that we teach also in our school, how to make good picture photographs to communicate. Because sometimes we have photographs, but we cannot judge because the angle is not good, because the feet are completely in the dark, because, and this is some communication is important today because we can do so much with WhatsApp, with telephone, but we have to do it in the right way. And when we communicate with our students and they know how to make the picture, then it's very easy to help and to give a decent diagnosis.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure. Yes? Other question? Yes, please. Iman, are you still here?
Yes, Bernard. Yeah, yes, Bernard.
I think there are questions, but yeah.
My connection is a bit up and down.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Any other questions?
I think, yes, I think there are other questions.
Are there other questions?
No more?
Yeah, I don't see any other questions for now. Bernard,
Okay.
if there are more questions, obviously we will discuss in our group as well. And I will have a few questions that I can bring to you. And we can have that discussion when we are meeting. And I'll definitely make videos at your institute as well with your permission, which I will circulate to the members as well. So all the members over here, you are welcome to send me the questions, which I will share with Bernard. Or I can also discuss with Bernard when I'm physically over there. Bernard, so, I can't thank you enough. This is a matter of great importance to the welfare of our horses in India. This is a discipline that is not much understood in the indigenous horse circles of India. And I think you and your people are doing a great job, making the number of farriers more and more available to us over here who are knowledgeable. Having farrier is one thing, but having a knowledgeable farrier is something on a different scale. And you
Yes,
guys have
exactly.
helped us to do that. Yeah. So thank you so much for attending the session, and thank you all the members as well
Pleasure.
for attending the session. And we look forward to more and more sessions like these in future along with you.
Pleasure. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. And I think I will close the meeting for now. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.